You ever wonder what happens when pitchers get too clever for their own good? When a little extra shine, a dab of spit, or a swipe of sandpaper turns a baseball from a tool of the game into a weapon of illusion? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the game's dirtiest secrets. This is Strike Zone, and this time we're explaining every banned MLB pitch, what they were, why they worked, who threw them, and how they got themselves exiled from baseball forever. Let's get to it. If you were a pitcher in the early 1900s, you were expected to do one thing: get hitters out by any means necessary. And the Spitball? That was the ultimate equalizer. Back then, baseballs were reused for entire games. Dark, misshapen, and scuffed to the point of invisibility. Pitchers realized that adding moisture, spit, sweat, tobacco juice, or even Vaseline could make the ball behave in ways no one could predict. By slicking up one side, they disrupted airflow, creating unbalanced pressure that made the ball drop, dance, or sail unpredictably. Fans loved it. Hitters hated it. Umpires? They tolerated it. And legends built their careers on it. Take Ed Walsh, who practically invented the spitter's dominance. In 1908, Walsh won 40 games for the Chicago White Sox, almost all on the strength of that pitch. He later said the Spitball was like having an extra arm. Then came Burley Grimes, the last man legally allowed to throw it. MLB banned the pitch in 1920, but grandfathered in 17 pitchers who already used it, a rare mercy rule for the men whose careers depended on the outlaw pitch. Grimes held on until 1934, his reputation cemented as the last legal spitballer. But the story of the Spitball isn't just about dominance, it's also about tragedy. On August 16, 1920, Ray Chapman of the Cleveland Indians stepped to the plate against Yankees pitcher Carl Mays. The ball, dark and slick, was barely visible. It struck Chapman in the head. He collapsed, never regained consciousness, and died the next morning. To this day, he remains the only player killed by a pitch in MLB history. The public was horrified. Baseball had to act. By the start of the 1921 season, the Spitball was banned, and MLB also introduced new rules requiring fresh, clean baseballs to be used throughout the game. Still, the Spitball spirit never really left. Pitchers like Gaylord Perry and Whitey Ford were accused for years of doctoring balls. Perry, ever the showman, denied everything until he published his autobiography, Me and the Spitter, and basically admitted to all of it. Umpires would check his cap, his belt, even his hair. He'd just smile and say, "It's sweat." And the hitters? They could only laugh or strike out. If the Spitball was messy, the Shine Ball was elegant. Instead of moisture, pitchers relied on polish, literally. By rubbing one side of the ball with paraffin wax, soap, or even shoe polish, they created a slick surface that reflected light and reduced air friction. The result? A ball that danced unpredictably, curving when it shouldn't, sailing when it should have dropped. The master of this art was Eddie Cicotte, Chicago White Sox ace, and yes, one of the infamous Black Sox banned for fixing the 1919 World Series. Cicotte's Shine Ball was so effective that even Ty Cobb once said it looked like it had a mind of its own. He'd rub the same spot on his uniform over and over until it glistened. Combine that with a little oil from his glove or sweat from his brow, and he could make the ball dart like a dragonfly. When the Spitball ban came in 1920, the Shine Ball went with it, lumped under foreign substances. But that didn't stop pitchers from sneaking it back in the shadows. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, rumors swirled about pitchers who carried soap chips in their pockets or secretly polished balls on their sleeves. One umpire claimed to have found a pitcher's uniform so greasy you could fry chicken on it. If the Shine Ball was about gloss, the Emery Ball was about grit. Its story starts in 1907, when Yankees pitcher Russ Ford discovered by accident that a scuffed ball behaved differently. One rough throw against a concrete wall turned into a movement so sharp, hitters couldn't touch it. By 1910, he was dominating the American League. His ERA that year was 165, and batters complained they couldn't predict the pitch's break. Ford, of course, kept his secret until other pitchers started copying it. It didn't take long for chaos to erupt. Pitchers were caught using sandpaper, nail files, even the edge of their cleats to rough up the ball. One umpire reportedly found a pitcher with an entire emery board sewn inside his glove. By 1914, MLB stepped in and officially banned the emery ball. It was the first pitch ever outlawed by name. The penalty? Immediate ejection and suspension. Still, that didn't stop players from getting creative. Some scratched their belt buckles, others used thumbtacks glued inside their gloves. In 1914, Yankees pitcher Ray Keating was caught with emery paper and tried to argue he was drying his hands. He was suspended, but also immortalized in baseball lore as the sport's first official ball doctor. After the Spitball ban, pitchers had to get, well, creative. If they couldn't legally wet the ball, maybe they could make it greasy. Enter the grease ball, or Vaseline ball, a sneaky successor that gained popularity in the 1940s and 50s. Pitchers discovered that a thin layer of petroleum jelly or baby oil could mimic the same effect as spit, a slippery, low-friction surface that caused the ball to tumble or sink unnaturally late. One of its greatest practitioners was Preacher Rowe, a soft-spoken Brooklyn Dodgers lefty with a Sunday school face and a Monday night fastball. He was known for saying, "You can't hit what you can't predict." In 1955, Sports Illustrated asked him about his special pitch. His answer? A sheepish grin and 4 words, "A little dab'll do ya." The Vaseline ball became an open secret. Pitchers like Gaylord Perry, Don Sutton, and Whitey Ford used substances ranging from hair tonic to hand lotion to get an edge. The trick wasn't throwing the pitch, it was hiding it. Ford, known as the chairman of the board, once admitted that when his stuff started to fade, he and his catcher Elston Howard got creative. Howard sharpened his belt buckle. Ford carried a tube of shaving cream with emery paper inside, and between innings, they'd adjust the baseballs. Ford's quote later, "I didn't actually cheat until I got to the majors. You have to cheat up there." Even as late as the 1970s, enforcement was minimal. Umpires knew, fans suspected, and players winked their way through it. MLB didn't really start cracking down until television cameras made it impossible to hide. Before stadium lights and pristine baseballs, every game was played in dirtier conditions, literally. Balls were used until they were almost black. By the late innings, they were soft, scuffed, and sometimes caked in mud or tobacco juice. Pitchers realized that a dark, dirty baseball was not only harder to see, but easier to manipulate. They'd rub the ball in the infield dirt, roll it in their gloves, even spit on it for good measure. The mud ball wasn't a pitch so much as a condition, a way to make the hitter's life miserable. But after Ray Chapman's death in 1920, MLB realized the danger. If a hitter couldn't see the ball, tragedy could strike again. Starting in 1921, umpires were required to replace any discolored or damaged baseball immediately. Still, there was one twist that stuck, a legal one. To combat the glare from factory-fresh baseballs, MLB needed a way to make them easier to grip without making them shiny or slick. Enter Lena Blackburn, a Philadelphia athletics coach who discovered a secret patch of mud along the Delaware River that, when rubbed on a ball, removed gloss but didn't stain. That same Lena Blackburn rubbing mud has been used ever since, over a century later. Every MLB ball, from spring training to the World Series, is hand-rubbed in it before the first pitch. So yes, technically, every MLB pitch today starts as a mud ball, just a legal one. The emery ball may have been banned in 1914, but scuffing never went away. It just evolved. Pitchers realized they could recreate the same effect by scratching the ball with a ring, belt buckle, or even a sharp fingernail. The aerodynamic principle was simple. A scuffed ball breaks differently. The rough side creates drag, slowing that half of the ball's spin and forcing it to veer toward the smoother side. The result? Movement that physics teachers would call illegal. From the 1940s onward, the sandpaper special became the secret handshake of veteran pitchers. Don Sutton was accused repeatedly of roughing up balls, though never caught red-handed. His response was iconic. "I'm the most accused and least convicted man in baseball." Whitey Ford's methods were more elaborate. When his fastball started losing life, he recruited teammates for covert scuffing missions. His catcher would nick the ball before throwing it back, or rub it on his shin guards for friction. Ford would then throw it like a normal fastball, only to watch it dive like a wounded bird. And of course, there's Joe Niekro, the man who turned an ejection into slapstick legend. In 1987, umpires noticed suspicious movement on his pitches. They approached the mound and asked to see his glove. Niekro, panicking, pulled a nail file from his pocket and tried to toss it away, right in front of the umpire. The crowd roared. And when asked about it later, he said calmly, "It's for my nails." The suspension was swift, but the moment immortalized. Not every pitch banned by baseball involved spit. sandpaper, or grease. Some were outlined not because of what was thrown, but how it was thrown. Welcome to the strange world of baseball's effectively banned pitches, the quick pitch, the hidden ball trick, and a few bizarre mechanical experiments that blurred the line between fair play and flat-out mischief. The quick pitch was baseball's version of the sucker punch. A pitcher would wind up and throw before the batter was fully ready, catching him off balance, sometimes mid-step into the box. The goal? Disrupt timing, destroy rhythm, and maybe earn a few confused strikeouts in the process. It was never outright illegal, but the line was razor thin. MLB's rulebook eventually defined a quick pitch as an illegal pitch when the umpire believed the batter wasn't set, or if the pitcher delivered the ball before the hitter had a chance to take his stance. Some pitchers, like Johnny Allen of the 1930s Cleveland Indians, practically made it their trademark. Allen was notorious for working at a lightning pace, sometimes firing before the batter even looked up. Hitters complained, fans jeered, and umpires started calling it unsportsmanlike conduct. Even decades later, the debate continued. Bob Feller, another Indians legend, used a borderline legal quick pitch as part of his arsenal. He'd speed up, slow down, and keep hitters guessing. When reporters asked if he was cheating, Feller grinned. "If the ump doesn't stop me, it's legal." Long before replay and camera angles ruined the mystery, the hidden ball trick was baseball's ultimate sleight of hand. Here's how it worked. After a play, the pitcher pretends to get the ball back but doesn't. The infielder secretly keeps it. The runner, thinking everything's reset, steps off the bag. And tag. No warning, no mercy, just pure deception. The hidden ball trick wasn't technically illegal, but over time, MLB added so many restrictions that it became nearly impossible. The pitcher can't be on or near the rubber during the deception. The umpire has to know where the ball is. The runner can't be trapped if he's not reasonably deceived. It was essentially legislated into extinction. The last successful one in MLB came in 2013, when Everth Cabrera of the Padres was tagged out after Dodgers infielder Juan Uribe pulled the oldest trick in the book. Even the commentators couldn't believe it worked in the 21st century. Throughout baseball history, pitchers have experimented with mechanics that make umpires' heads spin. There's the flip pitch, where a pitcher lobs the ball underhand like a softball just to mess with timing. Or the behind-the-back throw, a literal circus trick tried by a few showmen like Satchel Paige, who once claimed he could throw a ball with his wrist and fool the devil. Then there's the eephus, not banned, but suspiciously close. It's a high-arcing lob that drops into the strike zone at a snail's pace. Invented in the 1940s by Rip Sewell of the Pittsburgh Pirates, it looked more like a slow-motion prank than a pitch. Sewell said he invented it after being injured. Unable to throw hard, he started lobbing the ball sky-high just to survive on the mound. The first time a batter saw it, he laughed, then missed by a foot. MLB never banned the eephus, but many considered it borderline disrespectful. It embarrassed hitters so much that some pitchers were warned not to overuse it. Still, every once in a while, someone brings it back. Zach Greinke, Yu Darvish, and even Clayton Kershaw have all thrown modern versions for a laugh. If baseball history has taught us anything, it's that the more things change, the more pitchers find new ways to innovate. By the late 2010s, MLB had entered the era of analytics, high-speed cameras, spin rate trackers, and data so precise that pitchers could measure how many revolutions per minute their fastball achieved. And in that new world of numbers, grip became everything. The more traction a pitcher had on the ball, the higher the spin rate. The higher the spin rate, the nastier the pitch movement. So naturally, pitchers found ways to enhance that grip. They mixed sunscreen with rosin, pine tar with dirt, and eventually discovered the nuclear option, Spider Tack, an ultra-sticky substance originally made for weightlifters to grip 400-pound stones. Used sparingly, it could add hundreds of RPMs to a fastball. Used liberally, it could make a baseball feel glued to the fingers. By 2020, spin rates across the league were rising at an unprecedented rate. Hitters noticed, but couldn't prove anything until June 2021, when MLB announced a full crackdown on foreign substances. Suddenly, umpires were inspecting pitchers mid-inning. Some guys laughed it off, others weren't so amused. Max Scherzer memorably unbuckled his belt on live TV after repeated checks. Clayton Kershaw and Jacob deGrom passed inspections with annoyed smirks. Meanwhile, pitchers like Garrett Cole saw their spin rates mysteriously drop right after their crackdown. Coincidence? MLB didn't think so. Not every so-called banned pitch actually existed, but the myth alone can shake a league. Enter the gyro ball, the most overhyped non-pitch in baseball history. In the mid-2000s, when Japanese superstar Daisuke Matsuzaka prepared to join the Boston Red Sox, a rumor spread like wildfire. He threw a brand new pitch that broke the laws of physics. Journalists described it as a ball that spins like a bullet and drops like a splitter. Fans dubbed it the gyro ball. American hitters panicked. Analysts wrote think pieces. ESPN aired slow-motion graphics showing balls twisting through space like magic bullets. One headline even read, "The pitch MLB may have to ban." But when Daisuke finally debuted in 2007, the truth came out. The gyro ball was not a magic pitch. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't even new. It was simply a spiral-spinning fastball thrown with the fingers positioned like a football pass. The perfect bullet spin meant no late movement. It was straighter than a standard fastball, not nastier. So why all the confusion? Because the gyro ball looked so unusual on video. The ball's seams rotated differently, giving it the illusion of wobbling in midair. That, combined with the language barrier and media hype, created a storm of myth. Even Matsuzaka had to laugh. When asked if he threw the gyro ball, he said, "Maybe. I throw so many pitches, I lose track." Why does baseball keep drawing these lines in the dirt? Why can't pitchers use whatever creativity or trickery they want, as long as hitters still have to swing? The answer comes down to three words: safety, fairness, and visibility. Safety, because unpredictably moving balls can be deadly. Ray Chapman's tragic death in 1920 still echoes today. Fairness, because every pitcher-hitter duel should be about skill, not chemistry sets. And visibility, because fans, players, and umpires all deserve to actually see the ball. But beneath those official reasons lies something deeper. Baseball's eternal tug-of-war between innovation and integrity. The sport thrives on innovation, the new pitch, the new delivery, the new advantage. But every innovation eventually crosses a line. MLB bans pitches not because it hates creativity, but because it's constantly chasing equilibrium, trying to keep the game human in a world where technology, strategy, and science keep pushing it towards superhuman. Let's play a little what if. Imagine it's opening day, the crowd's buzzing, the lights are blazing, and a new generation of pitchers decides to bring back every banned pitch from baseball's past. First up, the Spitball. Jacob deGrom steps to the mound, palms a little Vaseline, and fires. The ball shoots forward, looks like a heater, then dives at the last moment like it's got a parachute. Hitters swing over it, umpires squint, and StatCast short circuits trying to chart the movement. The league batting average drops 20 points overnight. Then comes the Emery ball, modernized for the 21st century. Garrett Cole, armed with a microscopic scuff the size of a fingerprint, unleashes a fastball that breaks 6 inches more than physics allows. Hitters stare back like they've seen a ghost. Analytics departments panic. The commissioner calls a press conference. And by week's end, pitchers are greasing, scratching, and shining baseballs like it's 1914 all over again. Spin rates skyrocket. Scouting reports become guesswork. Fans, they can't look away. But here's the twist, or so to speak. The game would fall apart just as fast. Modern hitters already face pitches with more movement than ever before. In 2023, the league batting average was .248, the lowest since 1968, the year MLB had to literally lower the mound to give hitters a fighting chance. Add back the Spitball and Emery ball, and we'd be looking at a season where 200 hitters made the All-Star team. The truth is, baseball's beauty lies in the balance, the delicate dance between pitcher and batter. Every time pitchers gain too much power, MLB has to step in to keep the game playable. It's not about punishment, it's about preservation. If there's one thing banned pitches prove, it's that baseball has always lived in a gray zone. For every rule, there's a workaround. For every crackdown, there's a counterpunch. And for every pitcher caught cheating, there's another who learned how to dance just on the edge of legality, mastering the art of almost. That's what makes this game so human. Pitchers aren't villains, they're problem solvers. They study air resistance, experiment with finger pressure, and spend careers chasing perfection in a sport built on failure. A .300 batting average makes you a star, meaning you fail 70% of the time. Pitchers face the same math, and when the rules squeeze tight, they innovate. Sometimes brilliantly, sometimes illegally. It's easy to laugh at Gaylord Perry's Vaseline jokes or Joe Necro's flying nail file, but behind every scandal is a universal truth. Competition breeds creativity. Baseball's moral code shifts with every generation. What was crafty in 1910 became unfair by 1920. What was acceptable in 1970 became suspicious by 2020. Yet that constant tug-of-war keeps baseball alive. It's not just about throwing and hitting. It's about outthinking, outsmarting, outmaneuvering. The mound isn't just dirt, it's a chessboard. And the players who've pushed boundaries, for better or worse, have shaped the sport more than any rule ever could. And that brings us full circle. From the dark, muddy fields of the dead ball era to the data-driven stadiums of today, baseball has always walked a fine line between art and manipulation. Every banned pitch, every sneaky edge, every whispered scandal, it all points back to one truth. Pitching is equal parts science and sorcery. The Spitball gave us legends. The Emery Ball gave us chaos. The Vaseline Ball gave us laughter. And the Sticky Stuff saga gives us proof that even in 2025, baseball's most dangerous pitch is still curiosity. Because for every rule MLB writes, there's a pitcher out there right now, somewhere, in a bullpen or backyard, figuring out how to bend it. Just enough to make the ball dance 1 inch more than it should. And that right there, my friends, is the soul of the game. So next time you watch a fastball rise or a slider snap, remember, behind that pitch is a century of experimentation, controversy, and brilliance. The line between genius and cheating? In baseball, it's about as thin as a smear of Vaseline on a new white ball. This has been Strike Zone. Hit that subscribe button like it's a hanging curveball. Ring the bell so you don't miss the next episode, and tell us in the comments, if you could throw one banned pitch, which one would it be? Because baseball may have cleaned up its act, but the ghosts of the game's dirtiest pitches are still out there, spinning in the dark, waiting for the next mad scientist to bring them back to life. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.